How are you, sir? And most probably.
And I felt I am the communication. There, it's 90% of the time if I'm working. But you take it out. Great, welcome everyone to the October 24th IDA meeting. Note for the record, we have a quorum. Roll call.
Sarah Lansdale.
Present.
Sorry, Kevin Harvey. Sandra Cochran has an excused absence. Chris Damianos.
Present.
Greg Casamento has an excused absence. Josh Laura.
Present.
Brian Beaton.
Here.
Okay, let's move on to public comment. Is there anyone here wishing to make a comment?
Yes, there is. Matthew Aritich. Would you like?
It is.
Maddie, welcome.
Good afternoon, everyone. Matthew Arisich, President of Building Trades, 390 Railroad Drive. It's to make comment on having a meeting with Harps Mountain regarding this IDA proposal. It is, we have had experiences in the past which weren't exactly the best for everybody's outcome, and we have had a great dialogue with them. With Harps Mountain, we had Sal Gentili and Jay Radigan, and myself, and also had Grant Newberger, and we were joined by Kelly. We explained that policies that were in place prior to what happened last time have been reviewed, and our positions on the building trades jobs that are out there will be better suited if we had a better communication, and they agreed. And in fact, they even made reference to a couple of the trades which they would make early outreach. So at this point right now, we are content with the position that it's headed, and we will keep it okay.
Thank you so much for reporting out.
I have a question.
Yes.
Maddie, it's come to my attention that even though some of the main construction might be won by building trades, is there's conversation going on with the vendors in other words, once the vendors are selected and they pick out a space, are they getting a chance to communicate with building trades? Let's say it's ABC Residential, and it's building a $100,000, 50,000 square foot build out of the unit. Is that information passed on to the building trade so that you can have communication with the vendor?
Well, I can tell you that I don't have 100% accuracy on that, in response, but what I can tell you is this: the majority of the space that they're doing is not really build out space; it's very small. Because they're using the hundreds of thousands of square feet to their advantage, and they've split a couple of pieces up where they put a wall between them. But for the most part, it's open space and shelving and stuff like that. I mean, it's true warehouse is what it comes down to. But if there is some more interior work, we'd be happy to have the communication with them.
Yeah, I would just recommend, I mean, if that message is passed on to the developer, that, any additional information that may require more extensive build out than what's originally designed, that building trades at least gets an opportunity to have that conversation.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, one of the things we also mentioned is that there is a building that's taking place in Deer Park, which is more than 300,000 square feet regarding its warehouse space. And that particular project is done by Tishman, and that is 100% union at the point. And every one of the trades is actually from the building trades. In addition to that, there's another one coming in the Pineland section with Wheatley Heights and Wyandanch, and that is with the group called Bristol, the Bristol Group. And they've been very open and optimistic that they can build this with the unions. In fact, they've made reference to saying that we have committed to the first 6 trades to be, 100% union.
Very good.
Good. Thank you. Thank you.
Just curious, Maddie, do you know of those particular projects you referenced that are using all the local building trades? Did they receive benefits from any IDAs? Because I know they're not. I don't think they're in the Suffolk IDAs.
The one in Deer Park, yes, it's part of an IDA program. However, the one that Wheatley Heights and Wyandanch is not. In fact, there is no IDA incentive at all. They're going to apply those IDA incentives to the vendors that come in, or to those that take space. The reason is, they looked at it from a different perspective. Creating workforce development model, usually with the building trades, but in addition to that, the model that exists is if someone goes ahead and gets an IDA and they've created an opportunity for someone to get in, and then all of a sudden, a year and a half later, that contractor or vendor is out, the idea is that there's still a length of time where they're still getting benefits of having tax abatements, where this doesn't apply to them. Because the tax abatement should apply to the local entertainment or the local workings of everybody that's taking space, which is really probably a better model, so. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Any other public speakers? Seeing none, we will close the public portion and public comment and go into new business. Seeing no new business, we will go into old business to document processing. First up is Harts Mountain. I understand that there are a series of outstanding information that needs to be presented to board members. So I'd like to make a motion to table. There's a second.
Second.
All those in favor of tabling?
Aye.
Any noes or extensions? It is tabled. PPT management is up next. Kelly?
Yes, so this is a consent to amend the April 25th, 2024 resolution approving a straight lease modification and partial recapture to approve the termination of the straight lease together with conditional partial recapture. We've included the minutes from that meeting review by the board, and I'll turn it over to Andrew and ask him to summarize the action before the board.
Sure. So the purpose of this resolution is really to ask the board to approve a technical change. The substantive deal remains the same, whereby the amounts payable going forward will equal full taxes of the applicable recapture amount. PPT is required to pay 1/3, and until what would have been the expiration date of the original transaction, they have to maintain the reduced employment number, and to the extent they fail to report, then they have to pay the remaining 2/3 of the recapture. So this was a deal negotiated with PPT and approved by the board. There's no change to the deal. For various technical reasons, it appears that it is more advantageous for the agency to actually terminate the existing transaction while keeping this arrangement in, if you will, in a side agreement. So the end result is that, again, none of the economics change, none of the reporting requirements will change. But instead of paying the new agreed upon payments, which again are equivalent to full taxes under the pilot, because of the termination, they would be paid directly as actual taxes. And it is a more streamlined approach that we believe is better for the agency.
Questions? Great. Is there a motion to approve?
Motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any noes or abstentions? It is approved. Moving on.
Thank you, Andrew. Biobotanica Inc., and this is a consideration of an authorizing resolution approving the assignment of agency documents from Biobotanica Inc. to Biobotanica Resource LLC with respect to the agency's Biobotanica 2014 facility. Terrence Walsh is here with me, so he wanted to provide a brief on this action.
Sure. So the current owner of the 75 Commerce Drive, they're selling the property to a related entity. And then the current owner is then going to take a sublease. So they're going to remain as the operating company there. And so in substance, there's really no change to who's going to be operating there. And the new owner is going to be a true affiliate of the current owner. So there's no new people coming in here. But we do, because the ownership of the facility is being transferred to a new entity, we have to document it as an assignment and assumption. And that just requires board consent to authorize those documents.
Thank you so much. Questions?
Motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any noes or abstentions? The motion is approved. Huntington Village Hotel Partners LLC.
Great. See, you have a lot of housekeeping this week. This-
Important to keep things in order.
Absolutely. So this is also an assignment and assumption. But I will absolutely turn this over to Melissa because it also has some nuances to it.
Okay, thanks, Kelly. Good afternoon, everyone. So for this project, this is a project for the Huntington Hotel that we closed back in December 2020. And this relates to ownership changes. So the project was originally undertaken by George Tunis and his partner Ross Casada. And so construction's complete and the Ross is no longer going to be a 50% owner in the project. And so George Tunis is bringing in two of his sisters, as I understand it. And so those, the new owners are doing what's called a like-kind exchange under the Internal Revenue Code, meaning they've sold some other property and they're using the Internal Revenue Code process to acquire the interest in this new property, which has resulted in the original company, rather than just changing the ownership of our project company. The sisters are forming new LLCs that will own that 50% of the project. And so they've begun that process and started to deed the property to the new owners, again, keeping the same overall ownership structure. But because of the like-kind exchange process, the project will no longer be owned by just our project company, but it'll be owned 50% by these other LLCs. And so again, we'll need to do, because of that process, we'll need to do an assignment and assumption. And so the resolution before you is to approve that assignment and assumption. And the other piece is that the IDA originally approved mortgage reporting tax exemption benefits for the project in an amount not to exceed $109,058. And so they didn't do an initial financing with our closing, but now they're ready to do a permanent financing for the project. And so this resolution also confirms that mortgage reporting tax exemption can be used by the new ownership of the project.
Questions?
Motion?
Is there a motion? Brian made the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Chris. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any noes or abstentions? The matter is approved. Minutes. We have minutes before us. So I'll take a motion to approve the minutes of the September 19th meeting. There is a motion
Second.
by Chris, second by Josh. All those in favor? Any noes or abstentions? Minutes are.
Abstention.
Brian.
Sorry.
Okay, great. Okay, and Kevin, can you please present your report on the budget?
Yes, the Audit and Finance Budget Committee met before the meeting in order to approve the proposed budget by staff for 2025. We unanimously approved and recommended to be sent to the full board for their approval. So I make that recommendation. Entertain a motion.
There's a second?
Second.
Second by Josh. All those in favor?
Aye.
Abstentions? The motion, the budget is approved. Thank you so much. The next meeting is scheduled for November 21st, 2024. Any other items before the board before we adjourn?
We'd just like to remind the board to RSVP to not only the November 18th meeting, because we have a number of seats at a table, so we want to make sure that we take care of the board before we extend that invitation out to others. And there were a couple of other, there's a Vision Long Island email that we sent out to see if anyone was interested in attending. So it's requesting RSVPs and see what